From WKYT Podcast, this is Uniquely Kentucky. I'm your host, Amber Philpott. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome into Uniquely Kentucky. I've got a guy here that has been kicking it around in the music scene for a few years now. He really got his big start a couple years ago. Mr. Walker Montgomery. If you think you know that name, he is the son of what I consider 90s country royalty. Does that make you feel weird, Walker?
Well, I mean, that's just daddy in my sense. But he was very successful, and he had a very blessed career with great songs that people are still singing today.
And we should say, if there's somebody listening that doesn't know who we're talking about, that is John Michael Montgomery. You are born and raised here in Jessamine County, grew up here. How old are you now?
I just turned 20.
Oh my gosh, so I met you, I guess first when you were like 17, 18, you were a senior over at Sayre, right?
Yeah.
You have been playing music, you said probably around 2015, legit, in and around the bars where, you can't even drink at a bar, but you're in there playing. Talk to me about that first time getting on stage.
Well, there's X's on your hands, and I was 16. I guess I was a sophomore in high school, and that was the first time that I ever went on stage at Willie's, locally known. It was at the old Willie's in off South Broadway, I think that's where it is. But it was a cool experience. Definitely got the bug. The bug bit me that night, and of course it was just 3 guitars, little acoustic band thing we had going on. But that's when it really started to hit, and that bug bit me pretty hard.
I think a lot of people would just assume, because of who your father was and all of his success, that music would have come very early to you, like that you just from knee high would have been singing. But really, the bug didn't catch you till your teenage years. It sounds like.
Well, I always respect my parents immensely, because growing up they never forced me into music. They surrounded me with football and basketball and acting and music, and then they throw school in every now and then. But so I grew up doing a lot of different things, and Mama thought I was going to be a lawyer or something. I said I told her, I was like, well, you should have known as soon as I went to high school and started playing music that wasn't going to happen. But so I mean, music, I kind of went my own path to it, and but Daddy always says that if it's in your blood, you can't get away from it. And
it's in your blood now. It is like pulsing through there.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the career. So you put out Simple Town, and then you put out Just Say When, right?
Yeah.
I know you're working on some new music, but talk to me about just penning songs and where you get that motivation, inspiration for that.
Well, I guess I wrote Simple Town. I wrote it on my amp in my room. I guess I was 17 years old or something like that. And so we just started playing it out, and luckily we were blessed enough for 98.1 The Bull and 97.5 to jump on that song with us, and just writing songs that are relatable to people and try to tug at their heartstrings. And what happened with Simple Town was we did a show in Jessamine County. It was the first year the Jessamine County Fair did music, and I mean, like 1,000 people come out to see this 17-year-old kid, just bouncing around up there. And so I thought that was just so cool. So I had to write a song, a little anthem for my hometown, and that's how Simple Town came about.
Do you find now, because you can put out an EP, and at the time you don't have a major record label knocking on your door, but is it easy for guys like you to be able to do that and put out songs like that?
Well, nothing's easy, but
that's true. Nothing is easy.
It's a lot easier now that we have the Spotify and the iTunes and stuff, because we don't need a big record label to be pushing us. We can just put our music out, and if people like it, they'll show up to shows. Yeah, we've got 2 songs on there. Simple Town's about to hit 3 million, which is crazy, by the way. And then Just Say When is over 1 million. I think it's at like 1.5, and hopefully the other songs will get there pretty soon. But
where do you obviously your dad had so many amazing songs out there, and then I read too that your musical influence are those people that have been able to tug at people's heartstrings. It sounds like you like a good story in a song.
Yeah.
So where do you gather some of that influence?
Well, I'm blessed because, especially in country music, I like the new stuff, I like the 90s stuff, and I like the old stuff, the Johnny Cashes and all that stuff. So I'm blessed to be able to love all that, and I can kind of, in my music, I feel like I can kind of put all of that together. And it's got modern lyrics, but it's still got that steel guitar, and it's still got that rockin' Telecaster in there, that kind of '90s feel, and that's what it's all about for me is being able to just do country music, and but obviously I love all kinds of music. I love Frank Sinatra and Benny Goodman, big band stuff. That's kind of my secret music that nobody knows about. I listen to that old man 1930s stuff. But so that's fun for me. But I've got all kinds of musical influences.
Do you have a first recollection of, man, my dad is somebody? My dad's kind of a big deal. Do you have that?
Well,
a lot of times why I say that is a lot of times people who have parents who are famous in some capacity, their kids, it's like not a big deal to them at all.
Well, I mean, it's just daddy, It's I wake up and he's on the road, wake up and he's back. But he's such a regular dude. He's just an old country boy that he's not. He was somebody who was not meant to be famous, but he was so good at singing that he became famous, and because he's just a regular dude. And we go to Walmart and we go out hunting and fishing, and everybody knows him, and he knows everybody. So, but that's just how he is.
One of the things I remember you telling me a couple years ago that he was allowing you to use the bus, the tour bus, because he's like, I'm too old to do that gig. You're young, and that was like a big deal to you. You're like, I'll take it.
Oh yeah, no doubt I'll take it. And then eventually we started having to pay for it, but I was luckily I was able to afford it, and that was a blessing, especially going around and playing stuff in Kentucky, that we could use that bus and be able to travel comfortably.
What has he told you about the business? Because it sounds like to me that he told you, like, son, this isn't going to be easy.
Yeah.
I'm not really going to like handhold you into it. Probably you're going to have to find out your own way.
Well, I knew that every inch of success, so-called success that I had, I was going to have to work for. That was the bottom line. But he told me, one of the first things he told me is one, no matter how poppy it gets, real country music's always going to find a little sniggle its way back in, and a good song tops everything. If you've got a good song and a believable song, then people are going to listen to it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's awesome. You also have another wonderful family member who's been a great influence to you in Eddie Montgomery. Right?
Yeah. Well, he's been a great influence.
Yes, let's clarify great influence from Eddie Montgomery.
No, he's awesome. I love that guy to death.
He's shown you the ropes in some capacities for music and maybe other things we should say, right?
Well, stuff we can't say on the podcast.
Talk to me about that also, because there is like someone else kind of making their own path where, they started out in the bars. We're talking about Montgomery Gentry, started out in and around the bars here in town as well, and just kicked it around until they got to that point as well.
Well, I always say, every family's got the craziest uncle. Just so happens I've got the craziest uncle. But he can sing his heart out, and so could Troy, and that was just the perfect storm that happened right there. And because Daddy was already out on the road, and Uncle Eddie and Troy were still playing in Austin City in the Grapevine, which isn't there anymore. But
which is a shame.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but no, it was just a perfect storm, and when you've got something like that, something special like that, it's going to happen. It's just a matter of time.
2017 was a year where I think you were kind of really starting to, a lot of people were starting to know who you were. You won that contest for UK to be able to play before a UK football game. Yeah. I was there I had just met you recently. Yeah. And then standing out there and seeing all those people, that was so cool. But that was also a bittersweet moment for you as well, because that came literally on the heels of Troy Gentry dying. Yeah,
that was the day after the morning. I guess it was a morning game, really, because it was a noon game. And that was the morning after Troy died. So that was, we thought about, we were talking to UK and stuff, and they were like, hey, man, if you need to cancel, you can do it. But I was like, and I thought about it, but I was like, first of all, Troy was a big old dude, so he would have kicked my butt if I would have canceled that show. So we went out there and played and tried to honor him with the two things that he really loved most, besides his family, obviously, was Kentucky sports and music. So.
And you did that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. That was a special day.
What was that day like for you to be able to connect with people?
Well, like I said, we were just trying to honor him the best that we could. But Central Kentucky was mourning as a whole. It wasn't just me. It was the Austin. It was the honky tonkers, and everybody who loved and knew the Montgomery Gentry music was mourning that day. So it was a special moment, but and a special show definitely, and it made it even better that we won that game.
What about Red, White? Yeah, true. A win always helps. What about Red, White, and Boom 2018?
That was crazy.
I was nuts.
Yeah, that
you
was.
Opened? Was it sold that you opened the show, or at least you
I think
played
it might have been. I think it might have been, but it was no, it was a song called Just a Truck.
Okay,
that's what it was.
Okay,
but still, I mean, it was a crazy moment. Just the fact that because I was still just out of college. I just moved down to Nashville, and I'm just this goofy little kid up on that stage. But being able to sing in Rep Arena, you go to the shows in Rep Arena growing up around here. You go to the basketball games and all that. And heck, when I went to Disney on Ice with my sister when I was like 7 or something. But so you've done stuff in Rep Arena. You never envision yourself, especially at that young of an age, just like, wow, I'm sitting here playing Rep Arena. That's pretty cool. Yeah. But and that was a blessing.
What's performing like for you? I mean, walk me through a show and how you all get ready for it.
Well, one of the bigger. Well, it doesn't matter the size of the crowd. I could play for 30 people or 30,000. We're still going to have the same amount of fun. But the bigger the crowd, the more hyped up we get. And my best buddies are my band.
Yeah, it seems like you've known those guys forever.
Yeah. So it's weird. My drummer, his dad was the drummer for Montgomery Gentry for 10 years.
Wow.
So it's kind of full circle going on. But if I'm not having fun on stage with my boys, we're not going to have fun on stage. So we really embrace that, and I think people can tell, the crowd can tell that we're just having the time of our lives, and that's what it is. Every time you get on stage, you're like, well, we can play music for a living. That's pretty good.
When's the first time you remember that? Wow, people are singing my song lyrics back to me, and what was that moment like?
The first time, really, I even started tearing up a little bit. Was we did the Kentucky State Fair, and in Louisville we opened up for Gary Allen, and Simple Town was our closing song, and I could hear through my in-ears even the people singing along, and it was. I'm a little emotional butterfly, so I started tearing up and stuff. But that was a special moment for me, really, just to because we've been beating up the blacktop and we've been working that song, and just to see people like it is pretty cool.
I know that when you graduated high school, Mom said you need to try to go to UK or somewhere. Yeah. And then you said, well, I'm going to go for however long. Yeah. And eventually you decided that wasn't for you.
Well, I loved college. I met a lot of good friends in school, and I'm even going to a Tri-Delt formal or whatever with one of my good friends next month. But which is fun because I'm still getting to do some cool college stuff, but not being in school. But I was a Sigma Chi there. It was cool. It was a fun time. But music had my heart, and school didn't. So that was if I'm not going to do something unless I'm 100% into it, and I'm 100% in music. And
so with that being said, you're now in Nashville. And a lot of people move down there and I think they probably have, well, I'm going to try to find a gig somewhere in a bar. You're kind of focused on the songwriting aspect and really getting the music done. Talk to me about that.
I'm basically writing songs every day. I'm down there during the weekdays mostly, and which makes it full time. And writing songs every day. If I'm not writing songs, I'm having meetings trying to figure out how I can get songwrites with more people that I haven't written with before, and just meetings with my booking agents, seeing how we can get more shows and stuff. So it's a full-time job down there, but so that is my gig.
I love country music, but I think that's what I find more fascinating is what you're talking about. That how do you meet this person to get to that person? How does it work when you do what you say writes with people? Yeah,
well, you get into a write with someone who obviously. They're better than you. They've written songs and stuff, and it's just the more people you write with that are better than you. You got to learn. You got to learn from them, and then that makes your songwriting even better with every write. So that's really what it is. You just gotta keep on grinding, especially in songwriting. A lot of people don't realize that. They just see the 2 hours up on stage shaking your butt, and but you know, everything that goes into it is what makes that happen.
Obviously, you love your songs and you want people to listen to your music, but is it the ultimate compliment to have written a song and someone else say, I've got to have that song?
Oh yeah, I mean, and you know, my songwriting profile is probably up to 50 now, which you know, for about 8 months in town is a lot. But we've been working, and when somebody likes a song you've written, it's somebody's not biased to be like, okay, yeah, I like that, you know, I like that song just because you wrote it. But when somebody wants to record your song or likes to record your song, that's an honor.
Is it hard to give those songs away? Because I would imagine they feel like your babies.
Well, it is just an honor. So you're just, wow, somebody wants to record my song. So it's not that hard. If I've never had a song that I was like, okay, that song's me. And that's the beauty of writing songs. You can write a song and it might not specifically be for you, but it's still a beautiful song that somebody else might want to sing. You know.
What's your touring schedule like now?
A lot.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. That's how you make money,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, but make
You're
money and lose money.
You're using that tour bus,
yeah.
right?
But no, okay, we just got a Sprinter van.
Okay.
That we're building out because
we're working back up to the bus, right?
Yeah, because bringing the bus out of, you know, in Kentucky it's realistic, but going down to Florida and all that, it's a lot.
Sure.
But so we got the Sprinter van with a few bunks in it and a very, very small TV so we can watch Kentucky football. But and so yeah, but so we're gonna go down to Florida in it and Georgia and all that. But we're really busy this year.
When will you start?
We start on March 16th is our first out of state show this year. Well, I take that back. We've gone to Maryland and Virginia on one run, but this is going to be the first big one. We're going to Georgia, Savannah, Georgia, Macon, Georgia, and then we're going on a little tour with Tracy Lawrence for a few shows in Florida.
Tracy Lawrence.
Yeah.
That's some great music right there.
Yeah.
That's awesome, because I would imagine for you, just because of who your dad is and your love for music, then being able to go out with somebody like that who has been in and around the music scene for so long, has so many great songs, then to take a young guy like you along is really special.
Well, it's cool just because that's what I cut my teeth on. You know, I grew up listening to the Tracy Lawrence, and I remember the first show that I ever did at Willie's. You know, we played Alibis, we played Texas Tornado. It was a 2-hour set, but so it's cool to be able to open up for those truly living legends in country music.
Do you have a first concert that you went to?
First concert I ever went to, besides Daddy.
Right. He doesn't count.
Yeah. But it had to have been, I think it might have been Dierks Bentley at Rupp Arena. And I mean, this was like early 2000s,
Sure.
as soon as he come out.
Yeah.
And I think he was opening up for Lady A or something like that. And so I think that's the first concert that I can remember. But there's been a lot of them.
Do you have a most embarrassing moment on stage? Or maybe you haven't had one and then I just jinxed you and now it's coming.
Knock on some wood. Well, I almost fell so there was this little girl, her name's Miley, and she's like at every show. And she makes a different sign for every show. And we were playing in Somerset with Rodney Atkins, that's who it was. And so I just got done and I couldn't read the sign from the stage, so I went off the stage and I almost fell. And the whole crowd, like, just you could hear the gasps, and I kind of got up and I was like, I'm all right. But so that's probably the most embarrassing. Going. Yeah, that's probably the most embarrassing. But even that, it's fun. It's funny.
That's great. Talk to me about how I think a lot of people they go to concerts and they do that, but I think a lot of people want to know, how do you get to all of these different places? You now have, you said, a booking agent.
Yeah.
Has that helped immensely? Just someone that can kind of get your name out there.
Yeah. Well, we're with William Morris Entertainment, which is the biggest booking agent in the world, and I was blessed for them to take me on, and so they kind of, because booking in Kentucky, it was just me and my mama, so we were just trying to get everything in Kentucky, but they've got the contacts out of state that we wouldn't necessarily be able to get.
Do you have a place that's like a bucket list item to play?
Well, Rupp Arena anytime is the bucket list. And but Manchester Music Hall is my favorite place to play in Lexington, which we might have a show later on this year. headlining, hopefully.
Talk to me about, I think Lexington, well, Central Kentucky in general, and Kentucky for that matter. I mean, we have such a great musical history of folks, but I feel like Lexington itself is such this little hub of great music.
It is.
And places like Manchester have really made the difference for that.
Manchester is awesome.
Yeah.
That is my favorite place to go play, go see a show in Lexington. And I feel like they've just really changed it, bringing those artists that can't necessarily headline Rupp Arena yet, but they can sell out, like the Morgan Wallens that they just had. They can sell out a Manchester Music Hall 1,400 capacity venue.
And it sounds really good in there.
It does. It's awesome.
You know, it sounds really, really good in there. How do you feel about when you hear the term bro country?
Bro country?
Yeah.
Well, I love all kind of country.
Because you like some of those guys.
Yeah.
I know some of those guys are influenced, to you.
Well, my hero is like Luke Bryan. So, and I wouldn't even necessarily call that bro country, but people do call it bro country. And so, there. I mean, obviously there's a cutoff where you're like, all right, what are you doing, man? But I, the Luke Bryans of the world is still real country. He just made his own country. He just made his own
country gets a bad
country.
rap because of that.
Yeah, and
I get really offended when people say that.
I agree, and Luke Bryan just made it. In all the bro country, they just made their own style of country, and it's still got steel guitar. Country Girl, Shake It For Me has a fiddle on it. So, those people who don't, who rag on it, they, that's their opinion. But
what's your daddy up to these days? What keeps him busy through the
getting old? But no, I'm kidding. Well, no, I call him old man all the time. It makes him madder than fire. But he had vocal surgery in January, and he's recovering from that. But he's doing real well and about to get back on the road.
Does he stay on you? Does he say, son, you should be doing this better or that, or does he kind of stay out of the way?
No, actually, he stays out of the way, and that's surprising to a lot of interviews I do, and people ask that they're really surprised. But that just goes back to the hey, you're going no red carpet's going to be rolled out for you, Bubba. Yeah. You're going to have to do it yourself, and I'm cool with that. I love that. I don't want a red carpet rolled out for me. I want to go out and beat up that blacktop and earn it.
Are you now at that point? I mean, I know you're still early on in your career, but you also have the ability to pave the way for other youngsters that are kind of looking up to you. Have you had that moment where somebody's like, I want to do this, how do I do it? Are you at that point where you can kind of?
Well, we've had a few meet and greets and stuff where people come up and they say that a song has really inspired them or something, and that's really special to me. But we're never done working. It's a full-time job, and we still got to build those blocks.
So what's next? It's 2019. I know you're going on tour. You're working on a bunch of music. Like, what does 2019 hold for you?
Just keep on building those blocks. Keep on writing on the road. You don't have to be in Nashville to write. We're going to be writing on that Sprinter. We'll be cramped up, but we're still going to do it. We're going to go play as many shows wherever they want us, and just keep on. And if we can go to Macon, Georgia, and 30 people come out, that's fine with me. 30 more people know who I am and have heard my music. So.
A couple of things that I always ask on this podcast, and I didn't tell you ahead of time, so feel free to say pass. I always like to ask people about books, if that's something that's important to them. I'm kind of a bookworm, and I like to know if there's something.
I'm so glad you asked that.
But if there's something that's been important to you, something that's really influenced you.
Well,
something you're reading right now.
I love history, and I think that history is something that has really gone away, especially in my generation. But if you don't know what you did in the past as a country or something, you ain't gonna, there's no way you can move forward. So I'm just, I'm really into history and read a lot about it, and that's probably the most influential reading I do.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
And then this podcast is called Uniquely Kentucky, and I'd like to ask my guests what you think makes Kentucky so unique.
Everything, our history, from music to there's a beautiful painting in the Capitol building of Daniel Boone looking over the state when he supposedly founded it, and just stuff like that. Looking back and seeing what we've accomplished. Our coal miners, everything. There's three parts of the state: western, central, and eastern. So whatever, working together to this coalition to get where we are today. that's what I think is important.
Look at you, Walker Montgomery.
Yeah.
You're kind of an old soul.
Yeah.
Frank Sinatra, Kentucky history.
Yeah.
I love it. How do people find you if they want to find shows or find your music?
Go to walkermontgomery.com. You'll find links to Spotify, Apple Music, every show that we have confirmed booked that we're allowed to release and have a release date for, and there's also a merch store on there, so you can go pick up some swag. As the young kids
When can we
say.
expect new music?
Hopefully soon. We're trying to get back in the studio in March, and then after that, it's all up to the producers that do it.
You've gotten your job done.
Yeah.
It's up to them, right?
Yeah.
Walker Montgomery, we want to thank him for being a part of Uniquely Kentucky. Go check him out. If you've never listened to his music, go look for it. Spotify, wherever you get your tunes. Preferably, I'm sure he would like for you to purchase it. And then his swag. But he is a great individual representing Central Kentucky and out there kicking around in the music scene. Walker, we appreciate you.
Hey, well, thank you. God bless.